From Project Humanoid and interviews with everyday people, this is Murder My Dude. I'm BP Burke.
And I'm Jackson Wills.
And I'm Tony.
There you go. You are.
Tony Terror.
You are Terror.
I need like a cool name. I don't have a fake name.
So when we used to do Smoke Wagon, me and my buddy Nate, I would talk about Brian, and I was like, I need a name. So we start calling him Buckaroo Brian.
So then I'm
and then when
Duck.
you do,
I like Terrible Tony. Terrible Tony. You're terrible.
Terrible Tony, dude.
And I'm Yoko Ono.
I don't think you are.
Oh, no.
Oh, he's going to break us up.
Oh,
because you stole him for Tornado Tag.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Yep.
I'm going to start podcasting in a bed. That's what's going to be the next step.
You're literally next to your bed.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's chair, table, chair, bed. That's how we podcast.
Yeah.
Very comfortably.
I just want to say thank you guys because this is a cool way to do a little promotion for me as well for interviews with everyday people and Murder My Dude. And the reason we picked this topic is we're going to be I'm doing my first ever planning my own music festival.
Yeah.
So it's SkookStock, August 24th. So if you guys can make it out, Andreas, Pennsylvania, check it out on Facebook, SkookStock. And that's kind of why we went with the music this week.
8 bands? What is it?
Eight bands and 6 comedians.
Yeah, so that's 14 acts. I know I did this math on the Tornado Tag podcast.
Yeah.
For $25, it's less than $2 an act.
I demand for SkookStock 2 that we be a featured act.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. If it's a hit,
we're gonna play Who Died the Worst on stage.
Yeah, we'll do it on stage. Well, you bring us out, you'll sit. We'll do Who Died the Worst.
That could be very possible.
Yeah. So. We'll see what our asking price is. Yeah. I mean,
in honor of SkookStock, we are calling back to one of the earlier shows we did on Murder My Dude. I think it was in the first dozen, maybe the first 15. I think it was in the first 10 actually. This is part 2 of Murdered Musicians, My Dude. The first one we did, we covered about Sam Cooke. We covered Jam Master Jay. I think we covered Marvin Gaye. Mm-hmm. It was when the show really started. When I say getting good. When I say the show got better at a certain time is when I started getting more serious with the show prep.
Yeah.
Because the first couple of things were, it was basically us reading Wikipedia, which you always want more sources than that. So these are a little more well thought out and well researched. And we're actually going to cover two different musical deaths, 2 very famous ones, that both happened on the same date, not the same exact day. They were 24 years apart. But they both happened on December 8th.
Which is my grandmother's birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a few days after my birthday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm December 5th.
Yeah.
I'm the 5th, my brother's the 10th, and my wife's the 15th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all December.
My dad died December 1st.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot going on December.
Yeah. My family, it's all summer.
It was a long one.
Birthdays.
Yeah.
There's reason to believe
we were
maybe this year.
Popping there.
Yeah, I think it's when I'm moving. I have to try to stay still because I think when I move my head, some of the wires is making a popping sound. I think it's the headphones.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. So.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, for my dad?
Yeah. That too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sorry.
I knew. I feel we talked about this on an episode of Murder My Dude. And my mom will say the same thing. We think somebody killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody killed him.
Any suspects?
Yeah, a nurse.
A nurse.
A nurse. Yeah. Yeah.
I know who killed my dad. It was a box of pierogies.
I don't think it was that. Are you? Is his mic coming in?
Yeah.
I can.
I'm just trying to not be as loud, I guess.
Well, if you turn yours up, do you? Because we sometimes break it down. Do you use levelator?
I normalize the audio. Is that better? Am I louder?
Yeah.
Okay, I turned the gain up.
I could hear you a little bit better.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. Or you're just apologizing to them.
Yeah, to them, the people. I'm apologizing to you, the
viewer,
computer
listener.
I'm looking at.
Oh God, we're being. This is our first time we're being. Do we look handsome?
We look really. Yeah, you guys are on video.
Yeah.
This is the first. So this is their first. This is the first Murder My Dude that's going to have an actual video to it. So if you want to see what these strapping gentlemen look like, you can check it out on Interviews with Everyday People on YouTube.
I look much better in person.
Yeah.
I don't.
All right, so what do we got?
John Lennon.
John Lennon. We're going to kick off with John Lennon, probably maybe the most famous musician murder ever. It's got to be.
Is he the best Beatle?
Yeah.
I like Paul
Really?
McCartney.
Yeah, he's definitely the best
I like
Beatle because
McCartney.
in terms of, to bring it back to wrestling, in terms of what he did, you have no Beatles without John Lennon. Paul McCartney was like girls loved him, but Lennon had that charisma. He
Yeah.
was Ric Flair, man. He
Yeah.
was.
Was he the most talented Beatle?
Yes.
Ooh, I say I
No, I would say Paul McCartney. I don't. That's tough, actually.
George Harrison was awesome.
George Harrison stole songs.
He was really good.
He was
awesome on
good,
guitar.
but I don't think he was the most talented Beatle. I think in order to be the most talented Beatle, most people have to put you in the talk of who's most, and nobody really brings up George.
Yeah,
You know,
they're all amazing. I like them all except Ringo.
Ringo was kind of a shitty drummer.
Peace and love, peace and love.
Yeah.
Do you remember when TNA? Here we go to wrestling already. TNA, Alex Shelley was like filming Sting for something. He was like, "Hey, look, it's John, Paul, George, and Stingo."
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, the John Lennon thing. It's crazy because when I was a kid, don't know how I knew this. We were driving in New York City. We're by Central Park, right by like Strawberry Field. I was like, "Oh, John Lennon died near here," and my parents were like, "How the fuck did you know that?" You know, I have no idea how I knew that.
I remember one time we went to see stand-up comedy in Central Park. It was like a free concert.
Yeah.
And we walked right by the Dakota, right by Strawberry Fields, like on the way to the venue.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I walked by there a few times.
I haven't been there yet. I would love to.
Eerie,
It is.
eerie,
Yeah.
very eerie. So go ahead, bro.
So every year, speaking of Strawberry Fields, on October 9th and December 8th, thousands of music lovers gather along the western edge of New York City Central Park to celebrate, where Strawberry Fields is, to celebrate the life of John Lennon on his birthday and also on the anniversary of his death. The 2.5-acre section of park, known as Strawberry Fields, because of Strawberry Fields Forever, was redesigned and rededicated in the early 80s to memorialize a legendary former Beatle. At the time of his murder on December 8th, 1980, John Lennon was residing at the Dakota, an apartment building notable for its gabled roofs at the corner of Central Park West and West 72nd Street. Basically, if you're not familiar with this, you basically walk out of the Dakota. Central Park is literally right there across the street, and Strawberry Fields is right in that part.
Now, isn't there a giant circle? Like,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it says Imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there's always like musicians there and things like that because it's such a
Iconic.
mecca for music
Yeah.
and music lovers. That October of 1980, John Lennon and his wife, Yoko Ono, had celebrated not only John's birth on October 8th, or October 9th, sorry, but it was also his younger son's birthday, Sean Lennon, John and Yoko's son. He turned 5 that year, and for that birthday, Yoko Ono had arranged for a skywriter to write in the Manhattan sky, "Happy birthday, John and Sean, love Yoko." That next month in November, Lennon and Ono released the album Double Fantasy, which went gold quickly. My phone went out, so I lost the notes there. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
The photo shoot, they did a photo shoot that day, December 8th, 1980, did a photo shoot with the famed photographer Annie Leibovitz. She had the idea of photographing John and Yoko naked, because they had two versions where they're naked on the album cover.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I was pretty sure that was what that was. But Yoko at this point was uncomfortable with the idea, so they wound up with a compromise where John was completely naked and embracing a fully clothed Yoko, and they wound up very happy with the photo. They really felt that Annie Leibovitz, who was a legendary photographer, captured their essence of what they were as a couple. And posthumously, this became a Rolling Stone cover in December of 1981 to commemorate the anniversary of John Lennon's death. And it was later selected in, I believe, 2005 or 2006 as the greatest Rolling Stone cover of the first 40 years of the magazine. Now, later that day on December 8th, around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Lennon and Yoko welcomed in a group from RKO Radio. More wrestling. RKO Radio in San Francisco.
The 3 most dangerous words.
Now, RKO, Orson Welles is part of RKO. He did a lot of stuff with them.
Yeah.
And Orson Welles is who I took my name from, Jackson Wells.
Yeah.
I was
So-
born with my name, Brian
was.
Paddington Burke.
It's actually Brian Patrick. His mom, they were walking, there was a BP. oil.
Literally, my middle name came from an oil company.
Mine's Steven, just because I'm Italian, and it's the Italian thing where like every kid, like I have like 13 cousin Stevens.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm John Thomas.
Yeah.
John Thomas.
Me
But go by
and
Jack.
my dad were the ones who like broke the mold because we were named after somebody else. But like they gave me Steven because it was like a tradition, like in the family you had to be named after this guy. I don't know who he is.
My mom wanted to name me James Jr. My dad's name was James, and he didn't. He was like, no, I want him to have his own name.
Yeah. I was almost a Nicholas.
That's why I named my oldest son Lachlan. He could have been Jack the third, the third Jack. my dad, my grandpa, they were all John/Jack.
He would have been the fourth, wouldn't he?
A fourth, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was the third. I was like, no, he's gonna get his own name. So yeah.
Yeah.
So during this interview with RKO, they're promoting Double Fantasy, and Lennon said some things that wound up being really prophetic, considering what happened later that day. He was talking a lot about how the world had kind of lost its way from the peace and love era of the 60s, and he was just kind of expressing hope that they would find some sort of revived sense of peace and innocence in the post-Vietnam world. And this is a direct quote from that last interview John Lennon ever gave. He said, maybe in the 60s we were naive and like children, and later everyone would go back in the rooms and said, we didn't get a wonderful world of flowers and peace, Lennon pontificated. The world was a nasty, horrible place because it didn't give us everything we cried for, right? Crying for it wasn't enough. The most eerie thing he said, though, was toward the end of the interview. He said, I consider that my work won't be finished until I'm dead and buried, and I hope that that's a long, long time. And then literally, as we're going to get to, he's dead later that night.
Yeah, and that's a crazy thing, too, is because every single time someone tries to make a change, it's always deemed as if they're crying.
So, yeah.
At that point, too.
Especially now, it's like, oh, they're snowflakes, they're betas.
John Lennon would have been considered a snowflake.
Of course he would.
Yeah.
They would have hated him.
Yep.
All the people that listen to his music that love him. You know, that's funny. Like, you see that a lot with a lot of people that are like right-wingers that love Rage Against the Machine and stuff. It's like, dude, they hate you.
Yeah.
They hate you.
Yeah.
Stop listening to their to their music. Or it's like, oh, I don't care about the words. I like the music. It's like, all right, dude, fuck off. Like they don't like you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So around 4:30 that afternoon, John Lennon, Yoko Ono, and the RKO crew traveled to a recording studio in Midtown Manhattan. At this point, it was commonplace for a lot of Lennon's devoted fans. They knew he lived in the Dakota. There would always be fans kind of just hanging out there, wanting an autograph, wanting something. And one of the fans this day was Mark David Chapman. He had a copy of Double Fantasy and meekly approached Lennon. Lennon actually took the initiative to ask, because he was too shy to ask for an autograph. Lennon actually asked if he wanted the copy signed. Chapman nodded. Lennon went ahead and did it. And he also stopped at Paul Gorish, who was a friend of Lennon, take some pictures of Mark David Chapman with John Lennon earlier that day. He was very kind to me, Chapman would later recall. Ironically, very kind, and was very patient with me. The limousine was waiting, and he took his time with me, and he got the pen going, and he signed my album. He asked me if I needed anything else. I said, no, sir. And he walked away. Very cordial and decent man.
He also said, too, he said he looked at me different. He looked at me weird. Like, he said he looked at me like no other human in his entire life looked at me. Almost as if he knew I was going to be the one that I was going to kill him.
Right.
Yeah, he was really deranged.
Now, you know, there's conspiracy theories.
Is this one of those MK Ultra ones?
Yeah,
or? Okay.
It's definitely you know. Do you know about MK Ultra?
No.
Did you ever see The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yes, but I did. I watched it, but I think I watched it and I wasn't really paying attention, so I didn't really know what I was watching.
It was an actual program called MK Ultra, and it's mind control. And this is like the governments are always trying to do things, you know, play with.
Wasn't that like a Nazi thing for a while?
Of course,
yeah.
Nazis brought that over.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name? Werner von Braun or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like so after World War II,
our entire science division came from Germany.
Of course, NASA. It's every time I talk loud, it's
pops.
clipping a little bit. It pops. Yeah.
It's funny. The book "The Men Who Stare at Goats" was written by John Ronson, who also wrote the book "Them," which is all about like different people and conspiracies. And one of the guys he met for that book, he did it like in the early 2000s, was Alex Jones. This is before Alex Jones was a big name.
Yeah.
And in that video,
infiltrated Bohemian Grove.
John Ronson is in that video. He's the British guy in the video.
Yeah. I infiltrated Bohemian Grove. Yeah. Murder pills, 1776. Murder pills. Did you ever see like him do this shit? It's fucking crazy. I love it. He's batshit crazy because it's like, all right, dude.
I like when he goes, "I'm gonna tell you something right now, Joe. I'm kind of retarded."
He's a gimmick. Am I? Did you?
No.
Okay.
I'm not hearing.
I can hear you fine.
You can hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't hear what you're hearing. The popping.
Because it's not happening.
I'm not hearing it now. Yeah,
I just don't hear myself. But,
you're fine. You're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of there was a lot of conspiracy theorists that think Mark David Chapman was programmed. Like that's why it's kind of like even he is like, I don't know why, like, you know, like he was very nice to me, but a lot of people think that he was programmed to kill. A lot of people, we talked, Sandy Hook was our last episode. Some people think that the kid who did all the killings for Sandy Hook, Adam Lanza, was MK Ultra'd. You know, they think that he was programmed. Lots of people that, you know, they also believe in lizard people.
Yeah.
There's a line for me. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm off the grid in Mexico, and the lizard people aren't going to get me.
Neither's Chico Santana Monsoon.
Yeah.
And Ivan Podolsky.
All right.
Well, Chapman also, I don't want to jump ahead a little bit, but he also, like, this is something he has planned multiple times. Like,
yeah, he wanted to kill a famous person.
Yeah.
To kind of jump ahead a bit. His goal was to become famous for killing a famous person. And he had actually met with Paul Gorish that day, the guy who took the picture, and he told him that he had come all the way to New York from Hawaii in the hopes of getting his album autographed. And then he still hung around even after he got his album autographed, obviously because he was planning on killing John Lennon. And Lennon and Ono returned home that night at 10:50 a.m. Lennon made a bit of eye contact with Chapman as he was entering the building. I think that might be the eye contact you were talking about, Tony. Mm-hmm. And as Lennon was walking to the building, Mark David Chapman pulls out a .38 caliber handgun and shoots Lennon 4 times in the back and chest. Lennon was carrying cassettes from the recording session he had done. They were dropped all over. But he actually didn't go down. He made it to the front vestibule of the Dakota somehow before collapsing. Building workers were almost immediately alerted by a screaming Yoko Ono and called for help. Police and paramedics were there within minutes. And Jose Perdomo, who was the doorman at the Dakota, was able to wrestle the gun away from Chapman, who took off his coat, took off his hat, and just sat quietly waiting for the police. Like, because it was mission accomplished for him.
Yeah. He took four landed, but I think he unloaded more because there was some bullets that missed that went right and went into like a windowsill.
Yeah, Lennon was hit 4 times,
yeah.
And efforts to revive Lennon at the nearby Roosevelt Hospital were unsuccessful, and his death was very famously announced because this is before the internet, before Twitter, before a lot of live TV and live newscasts. Like, a lot of that stuff was pre-recorded. But one thing that was live and was on that night was Monday Night Football. And Howard Cosell broke in the closing seconds of the 4th quarter of a Monday night game between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. And I'm not going to do a Cosell impression because it would be horrible, but we have to say it. Remember, this is just a football game, no matter who wins or loses. An unspeakable tragedy confirmed to us by ABC News in New York City. John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous, perhaps, of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back, rushed to Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival. Hard to go back to the game after that news flash, which in duty bound we had to take.
Who won that game?
I don't know, because I actually watched a clip of it. That was actually very late in the game that broke in. And the Patriots are going for a game-winning field goal. They missed. The game actually went to overtime. Yeah, I'm sure you can look up who won, but I'm not sure.
Now, also at this time, the Beatles were also... they're all kind of doing their solo thing, but they were just not too long ago filmed the Get Back video where they're on the rooftop, and they were possibly working on to pretty much work on something together again.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the video of Paul McCartney being interviewed, like the day or like right after? It was like, well, like, no, it sucks. Yeah. Well,
that wasn't the original Paul, so maybe
the original.
Now that's a good.
That's a conspiracy.
We just clipped again. I did when I talk loud because it's sometimes like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's, well, do you think it'll?
It's something that we can probably fix a little bit in post.
Okay. Yeah. That's it's something I would like to talk about. Things like Fall. They would call him Fall because he was the faux Paul.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Yep. Yeah.
Did you watch Paul McCartney is Dead?
Yeah, they think that he died in a car accident.
The car accident in '66.
And that the Beatles were trying to tell their fans on the album of Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper.
Abbey Road.
Yeah, Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And the album of Sgt. Pepper.
Why would they try to? Why wouldn't they just? You know what I mean? Like, why would they let people in on it if it's?
And they said that the Beatles had a contest for a Paul lookalike, and that there's a video,
secret contest,
and then they went to India to train the new Paul to be Paul, and there's videos of this Paul playing guitar right-handed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Paul's my favorite Beatle. He's left-handed.
Yeah. He actually wasn't even a bass player. He learned bass to be a part of the Beatles.
It's so silly.
Yeah.
that things like that is what kind of like invalidates other conspiracy theories. Like if you think about 9/11, I personally think 9/11 was an inside job. I do not think it happened the way that we were told. I'm not saying that as a gimmick. I'm not saying that as Jackson Wells trying to say something, weird. And I wear conspiracy hats sometimes. I do believe JFK was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job. They're the two that I absolutely believe were inside jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know about this Lennon thing. I don't know. I doubt the Paul McCartney thing. People change over time. People's like your ears will grow, your nose will get bigger. People are like, but if you look and it's like, dude, I saw pictures of me where my mouth is shaped differently than it was a few years ago. Am I fake? Am I the fake? Am I a clone? He a clone. Did you ever see that? He a clone. He dead. He a clone.
If John Lennon was out today and he was trying to put the same message out, people would have considered him
a snowflake.
Kanye West. They would have
or crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have said he was crazy. And
absolutely.
Now Kanye West is crazy, but he does say some stuff sometimes. You're like, oh, okay, maybe.
All right, you want to get back to Chapman?
So Chapman was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 20 years to life in prison. So obviously this is way longer than 20 years ago. It's almost 40 years ago. His parole has been repeatedly denied. The New York State Board of Parole most recently denied Chapman in the summer of 2018, and they said his release is, quote, incompatible with the welfare and safety of society. And Chapman has been a model prisoner behind bars, but the impact that John Lennon had on the lives of so many makes his chances of being freed unlikely. They've even said, like, yeah, you killed John Lennon. They've, in so many words, said, you killed John Lennon, you're never getting out of jail.
And he was just up for parole not too long ago, and Yoko showed up again to make sure he doesn't get out.
I don't think at this point it's like
he's not a danger to anybody. I don't think.
I don't think. And even if he is, guess what? You do something wrong, you go back to jail.
Now, do you think how much of this do you think he's in jail for his own safety at this point? Because if you think
that true, yeah.
If you think if he was released, people are like, dude, you killed fucking John Lennon.
I think that. Well, that's wrong then.
Well, yeah, it would be wrong to kill him.
No. It's wrong that like if he got out based off of fame, right? Like if he got out like or had a more lengthy detainment or whatever sentence because he killed somebody famous, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
If he killed you, he would have been out already.
Oh yeah.
But or like your dad, because your dad was, I don't know how old your dad was when you were born, but
yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like how fucked up is that? Because you kill somebody famous, you get a longer prison sentence. I don't agree with that stuff. I just, let him out. I think they should let him out. He's served 39 years, right? It'll be 39 years this December that John Lennon died.
Yeah.
I was a baby. I was however many from May to fucking December.
Like 7 months old. Yeah.
Okay. When he died, I'm gonna be 39. That's a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Like who was he killed? Like what kind of, like has he been a model prisoner? Probably.
Yeah. He has. There's been no issues with him in prison.
Let him the fuck out.
And he's not doing the David Berkowitz. We discussed this a couple weeks ago.
David Berkowitz said, "Keep me in."
Yeah, he's like, "Keep me in. I shouldn't be." But he also killed a lot of people.
Right. This dude killed one guy, and it sucks, and it's awful. But this is coming from the atheist people. What about the forgiveness?
Right.
Yeah.
What about the forgiveness part of Christianity for the people that are Christians and believe it, or any religion? I'm not saying forgive and forget. I'm saying, dude, you fucked up.
Yeah.
But hey, here's another chance at life. You fuck up again. What he's not gonna last.
I mean, Yoko already kind of killed his career anyway. So I mean, if anyone should go to jail, it should be her, right?
Okay.
I made a joke. I'm sorry.
No, we are part comedy too.
It was in bad taste, but
I love bad taste.
Yeah.
Our
Bad
show
taste tastes good.
Our show is in bad taste.
now he did have. Oh no, you're gonna get there right now. My bad.
Yeah. So the big thing that comes up now is motive. Why? That's always a why. And he has said, Mark David Chapman has said, he wanted to become famous. He wanted to become known, and he felt that shooting a celebrity was going to put that in motion. And he had also considered shooting or targeting other celebrities. Johnny Carson. He thought about killing Johnny Carson.
I'm gonna fucking keep him in for life. Never let him the fuck out.
He really thought about killing George C. Scott, who was a huge star at this point because you had Patton, you had things like that.
He starred in a fucking great movie I love called W.C. Fields and Me. Mm-hmm. And that was awesome. Do you know who W.C. Fields is?
No, I do not.
Old time comedian. He did like vaudeville stuff, and he would like My Little Chickadee. Like if you're like, what was the one line that he would say? Like
I don't remember.
like whatever. Like my boy.
That's
This
it.
is how he would sound. You know, like yeah, he had.
Very old.
I'd rather be in Philadelphia or something like that. He would just have all these different things, but yeah, he was this fat guy with this big red bulbous nose, and George C. Scott played him, so that was
Wasn't a lot of the picking Lennon is because he was just more accessible.
He was more accessible and more famous.
Yeah.
Like because George C. Scott, Chapman actually had a plan. He bought front row seats to a play that Scott was in on Broadway.
This would have been like Lincoln.
Yeah, it was very much so, except if John Wilkes Booth would have gotten shot and would have been in the play.
Or very, very similar to our next story.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, very similar to the next topic we're going to have. But he didn't even go to the show. He wound up deciding on John Lennon. And the legendary J.D. Salinger book, Catcher in the Rye, has been spotlighted as a contributor to the motivation, too, largely because, other than the gun, the only thing that Mark David Chapman had on him, and the album that he had just had autographed, the only other thing he had on him was a copy of Catcher in the Rye.
Do you think that album is still in police holding?
Probably, yeah. Or somebody who's got it on their wall somewhere. Things get lost in the evidence locker all the time.
Yeah, I wonder if that's an interesting question. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I think this is something I started to research. But Chapman actually,
I'm looking at the levels. It looks like when you're talking, you're definitely coming in lower than
maybe because your mics are also probably a lot more powerful than mine, and I have mine a little turned down.
Just turn yours up a little bit. Sorry,
all right.
I know
So,
you get to work out the kinks. Go.
Yeah. So he actually didn't he take a vacation from Hawaii here one time before the Lennon killing. He purchased a gun. He was planning a killing, then backed out of it when he ditched the gun in like a river. And then went back home and then came back the second time like, I'm really doing it this time.
Imagine if you fucking were out on a river. I saw this ad for this round, like, it's like this weight that could pull up. One of these weights could pull up to 400 pounds. The other one pulls up, it's like a magnet, rather.
Yeah, I watched the guy pull up a grenade out of a...
But imagine if you pulled up the gun... Or did they have it in...
No, this is the gun because he had like a false start. Then he threw a gun in the river and then came back and did it another time.
Where's the gun that actually shot Lennon?
I'm sure the police have it.
Police have that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, so he's planned this twice, and he came to America to do it the second time. The first time, bought the gun, got everything, and then backed out of it. Or I could be wrong, but I remember he did make 2 trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is it seems like he had...
You mean mainland?
Yeah. He came mainland. Yeah.
The lower 48. And there was this whole thing about him, like with the Holden Caulfield thing, where Caulfield thought all these people were phonies, and he obviously had something against celebrities. And he even said that in a parole interview. He said it wasn't anything against Yoko Ono or John Lennon as people, and only as him as a famous person. If he was less famous than 3 or 4 other people on the list, he wouldn't have been shot, and that's the truth. So he went after Lennon because of the level of fame.
Yeah.
And
the crazy thing is, too, it's like when people are like, oh... I can't stand. I stood outside of a hotel room for 6 hours waiting to see my favorite celebrity. All they did was just walk by and didn't say hi to all their fans. That's precaution for this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, sometimes celebrities, it's not that they're trying not to be trusting. It's because the day you're that celebrity who becomes too easily accessible, you have that one crazy person who's like, well, they'll stand out there forever. And they become... John Lennon became very routine. We're like, hey, I know he leaves his house at this time, and he always comes back. And when he leaves and comes, he doesn't have a security detail for the most part. He's a man of the people, and he'll stand there and talk to people all day long. So if you really wanted to harm him, it wouldn't be very hard to do.
Yeah, it's like after JFK, whether you think it was the way it was or whatever it is, they have done a lot more with protecting presidents now. There's no open vehicles. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's like even the Pope. Remember the Pope would just drive around, and now he had the fucking Pope mobile.
Yeah, the big bulletproof dome.
What a great deal of faith.
Yeah. Who did that joke? Bill Hicks?
Phil Hicks, yeah.
Bill Hicks.
Yeah, you would think God stopped those bullets.
Yeah, really.
Has the Pope ever been shot at?
I think John Paul II got shot. I think, yeah.
I don't know my Pope history.
Yeah.
So, Chapman...
and there were popes that have been killed.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good idea. We should do that on an episode.
Yeah.
Popes. People believe that there's a woman pope. Like
yes, I do know that.
Pope Jane or something.
There was a black pope.
Yeah,
Seriously,
Galasius,
there
right?
almost was a black pope for the newest pope, wasn't there? Wasn't there a?
There was a guy from Africa who was considered.
Dude, if they did it, people would People are so racist.
Yeah.
They think, and people literally think that Jesus was a white. First of all, I don't believe Jesus was a real person at all.
I think he was real. I just think his stories were embellished.
We don't have any proof that
I
he
think
was
it's
real.
a collection of a
It's a collection of stories, but
Yeah.
but the stories. If you look at all even the symbol, like the crucifix, that goes on like predates Jesus. Where
Yeah.
other like there were women figures like that had the arms stretched out like that. That were like in a crucifix thing. That were actually people were using those symbols like. They were wearing them like crosses. That predates it like thousands of years and stuff.
What's the Book of Tao, which is like almost it's like an Egyptian story, which is almost identical to Jesus, and it was written almost thousands of years before.
There's so many.
Yeah. But we're getting way off here. Yeah.
I could do
But,
this all. I could talk about that shit all day, man.
But yeah, Chapman did admit to getting angry when he saw how like luxurious the Dakota was. That's the one time he did get angry, but he had gotten calmed down by the time that the murder happened, and he says it was just for the attention and the good fame, and he has expressed remorse. He said absolutely it was not worth it, absolutely ridiculously selfish act to take another human's life so that I could be pumped into something that I wasn't to begin with. Chapman told the board when asked how he felt about the attention he ultimately receives that he deeply regrets it.
Yeah.
So
He also said,
don't kill people.
I also believe he said as well as he said he was sitting there and it was getting later and later, and I believe he said it was getting kind of chilly, and he said,
December in New York is going to be very cold.
He said I was 15 to 20 minutes away from just leaving. He said if John Lennon wouldn't have showed up at that time, I was at the breaking point where I was just going to leave, and not.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then fast forward 24 years after the death of John Lennon, another musician's life was senselessly taken by a deranged fan.
What did you say?
Fast forward?
No, it's a joke. What do you say?
Oh, okay. I respect that joke. I respect that joke.
Nothing.
I'm about to walk. All right.
I'll show my vulgar display of power on you.
And then you will see
Go to hell with the Cowboys.
something about cemetery gates.
Cemetery Gates. All I need is
What's your
5 minutes.
favorite? What's your favorite song by the way? What's your favorite?
I like
Pantera?
Hollowed.
Okay, so my favorite is a cover. Planet Caravan.
Okay.
Okay.
I said planet like I'm from
Planet.
Schuylkill
The first
County.
time, the first time
Planet
I
Caravan.
ever
Planet Caravan.
the first time I ever tried the devil's lettuce,
Yeah.
the first thing that my eyeballs and brain experienced was a friend of my cousin, or friend. Sorry. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not.
Next time I'm sitting either on the floor or on one of those other fucking chairs because man, these chairs hurt my asshole still.
I'm so sorry.
Does anybody else complain about their assholes hurting from this?
Never,
Fuck.
never.
Oh God.
Yeah. Is your butthole okay?
My knees hurt when I sit here.
My legs hurting. My fucking left leg hurts really bad.
Okay.
And my like asshole area, just that whole area. It's like I don't know what's going on here.
Like the last time I did Tornado Tag, I was playing footsies with Andy because I was trying to. Even now, I'm like stretching my legs out like I'm trying to steal third base.
You're not.
But yes,
because we're so
so
fat.
my cousin,
Yeah, it is.
my cousin, we tried the devil's lettuce, and his buddy is a really talented guitar player, and they were playing the Pantera music video of Walk on the computer, and
Okay.
he was playing along with it, and he was talented enough to do it, and he was doing the string bends. And then
Isn't that where he's wearing like a
yeah,
white long sleeve like
I believe so.
T-shirt.
But the song's 5 minutes alone, but the string he
Yeah.
bend the strings down, and I would just be like, I was like high as hell, and I was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
wow.
Yeah. Okay.
So the next is Dimebag Darrell.
Dimebag
Yeah.
Darrell. And by December 8th, 2004, Dimebag Darrell is no longer with Pantera. They're broken up.
Yeah.
He is with his new project, Damage Plan.
Damage Plan, yeah.
And they had a gig at the El Rosa Villa nightclub in Columbus, Ohio. Damage Plan was the recently formed supergroup founded by Dimebag Darrell and his brother, Vinnie Paul.
Who also just passed away recently.
Yeah, and they had a few other people from a few other bands. The group had already had a little bit of trouble in Ohio a few months before this, then in a show in Cincinnati. That April, it was a man named Nathan Gale who ran on stage during the Cincinnati show. He was blocked by security before he was able to reach the band. But when he was being pulled out, he was fighting and struggling, and he did $2,000 worth of damage to a lighting rig. And he escaped prosecution. This is going to play into an episode we did a few weeks ago, because Damage Plan did not want to come back to Cincinnati to testify. So he kind of got off for damaging their property. And we did the Appalachian Trail a few weeks ago, and this one guy who wound up killing somebody, he was arrested for something else and wound up not facing serious charges because the hikers didn't want to stick around to testify against him.
Oh,
If we ever do another episode, from here, I'm laying on the fucking floor and I'm holding the mic.
I will try to see what I can do for a better chair next time.
Listen, I'm gonna bring a rider. Okay. I want a rider. All right. If I'm gonna show up, okay, I want an entourage, and I'm gonna have my people here with me, and I want a rider.
We'll bring our own chairs next time.
Peanut M&Ms.
Okay.
Okay. Yellow peanut M&Ms.
Just the yellow?
Just the yellow ones. Okay. I want Diet Pepsi, 1 room temperature, 1 ice cold. I don't fucking know what I'm saying anymore.
Do you know why?
My asshole hurts, and I'm going crazy. This thing keeps popping every time I
Do you know why Van Halen did that thing with the green M&Ms where they wanted only green M&Ms?
No.
It was a test. Because they wanted
Didn't
to make sure...
Ozzy do it first?
He may have, but I know Van Halen said it was like a test where they would demand to have only green M&Ms in a bowl because they wanted to make sure that people were paying attention to the rider, and they knew if they had that bowl of green M&Ms that they paid attention to the really important safety stuff on the stage.
Absolutely. No, that's smart. That's a smart fucking test.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you brought up Van Halen.
Uh-huh.
This is funny because I don't know if I start to bring this up to you, or maybe I did bring it up to you. Yeah, I did.
Pantera?
At Prest, at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when Pantera started, they were like a hair metal band.
Glam, yeah.
Yeah, like glam.
Like Kiss, Van Halen.
And they did not want to be. Philip and Salmo. What's his name? Philip J, Philip P, Philip fuck whatever the fuck his middle initial is. He did not want to do like glam shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how they first started coming in with like jeans and t-shirts and stuff.
And he was Diamond Darrell, right?
Well, that's what I was getting to.
Okay. Oh shit.
So, thanks, you fucking just jump right in there.
So Diamond Darrell wanted being shot.
Yeah,
The end. My dude.
It's every time I laugh or I get too close, it pops.
Yeah.
But that's so that's what happened.
Oh, okay.
Where I'm laughing right now is when I listen myself.
Yeah.
When you're like, way to go, Dick. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I laugh. Like,
No, that's fine. Yeah, so he fucking, I guess it was after like Diamond Dave.
Diamond Dave, yeah.
He was Diamond Darrell.
Page.
Yeah.
They gave himself a self high five.
Yeah. Nailed it.
And so he had that name, and then they start getting fucking edgier with their thing. They were like, "Fuck this shit."
Do you think there's like an alternate universe somewhere where DDP got shot and there's Dimebag Yoga?
Dimebag Yoga.
Yo, we're starting it.
Dimebag Yoga.
We're starting it, Tony.
I have DDP Yoga upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to start smoke. I'm just going to get high and start trying fucking yoga. It's going to be hilarious.
I'll film it. So where are we at here?
We're going to get back.
So we're going to get back into more about Nathan Gale. He was originally from Marysville, Ohio. He graduated from high school in 1998, went to a trade school, and eventually wound up in the Marine Corps in early 2002.
Wait a minute. Stop. Nathan in the Marine Corps and he shot someone?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Our buddy Nate was a Marine. Oh no, we better fucking cut ties with that guy.
Yeah, he's going to shoot dice.
Yeah, but if we don't cut ties, if we don't cut ties with him, go listen to a show, Stand Up-ish on ProjectHumanoid.com, and go.
All right. A little bit. This guy didn't last. This Nathan didn't last as long in the Marine Corps as our Nathan. Our Nathan was a 10-year vet. Nathan Gale was discharged on a Section 8 less than 2 years after joining. Some believed he suffered from delusions and/or schizophrenia. But he was a lifelong Pantera fan. Big dude. He was like 6'3". He was like well over 200 pounds.
Nate was 6'3", over 200 pounds when he was in the Marines.
Oh, wow.
He was actually more muscular.
This is scary. This is getting very scary.
He was bigger when he was in the... Our Nate went on to become a mailman.
He's our Nate now.
Nate.
He's our Nate.
He's like my brother.
He would listen to Pantera's music to hype himself up before football games. He played for the Lima Thunder, a semi-pro football team in Lima, Ohio. And so he was just obsessed with Pantera, loved them. And he was at the El Roosevelt nightclub that night. He was not inside, though. He was lingering around the front of the club. One of the people going to the Damage Plan concert saw him and asked him why he wasn't in there seeing the show. And he said, and this is where he is wrong, he said, I don't want to see any shitty local bands. Local bands are great, and you're going to see 8 of them at SkookStock in a few weeks here.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well, fuck him for some other reasons, too. We're getting there. He was there to see Damage Plan, he explained. The manager of the club thought that he was just some problematic fan that didn't have a ticket and had one of the band technicians kick him out. So what happened was when Damage Plan started playing, they were about a minute and a half into their first set. Nathan Gale hopped the 6-foot fence and rushed toward the building through a side door. He forcefully pushed his way through the crowd toward the band. He was just kind of pushing his way through, and a lot of the fans, because of that, just thought he wanted to go stage dive, or he was moshing. And Joe Dameron, a bassist for one of the opening local bands, thought he heard him say something about Pantera, but he wasn't sure. It was very loud. He finally gets to the stage, and at that point, Nathan Gale pulls out a Beretta M9 semi-automatic pistol. He shot Chris Paluska, the tour manager for Damage Plan, in the chest when Paluska tried to stop him from getting up on the stage. Once he's on the stage, he had a very clear path to the band, and he went right toward Dimebag Darrell. And Dimebag Darrell was known for getting really into his live performances. He's like thrashing, he's headbanging, his hair's in his face, so he probably doesn't even see it.
He probably was wearing the ear protection or the monitoring ear things that were all he could hear is his own guitar. Mm-hmm. So he probably had no idea it was coming. And 4 shots were fired in all. Darrell was hit in the right cheek, the left ear, the back of the head, and the right hand. Mm. Most people in the crowd at first thought it was like a gimmick or some kind of stage effect, but then Nathan Gale started firing on the crowd, and he was tackled by Jeffrey Thompson, who was the head of security for Damage Plan. Thompson wound up in a scuffle, getting shot 3 times. Nathan Bray, a fan who also rushed the stage to help, was shot in the chest. And at that point, Nathan Gale had to reload. And as he's reloading, another club security employee, Aaron Hulk, who was an ex-Marine himself, tried to get the gun away from him, but was shot 6 times. Mm. And how many? I'm not a gun guy, but how many shots does a Beretta M9 have?
No idea. No idea. We're not gun people.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's reloading too. Probably like a bigger magazine as a semi-auto.
But I guess this is where people like get upset. People like me who don't understand about guns or know about guns. And I'm like, why do you like? I get it. Like it was written in that old scroll that we still go by. That we have to be able to fight against our own government if it gets out of control. But
too late.
Yeah, but we can't stop them.
So again,
realistically, even if our government was like, "Fuck you guys, we're going to take over," no one's going to do anything anyway.
We talked about this yesterday. Literally yesterday, we said we were.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
no, good. Yeah.
No, we were saying like. It's impossible. Our government, like as BP said, that ship has sailed.
Yeah,
like it's way too late now to try to fight against your government. Like tough shit, you're fucked.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to buy nukes. You're not allowed to buy cruise missiles.
You can't. Right. That's why I said it's like, where do you draw the line? Everybody wants their. Well, I need my arms. My arms. It's in the Constitution. It's the Second Amendment. Like my Second Amendment rights. Then get a bazooka. Yeah. Get where do you? It's because it's where they draw the fucking line, of what's acceptable.
You can't go get an actual AR-15 that's like a military grade unless you have a special crazy.
No, what kind of gun would you call that?
A semi-automatic AR-15. Like there's the ones that the people are killing the people with aren't technically semi-auto, but if you train long enough, you can make it shoot just as fast.
You can kind of do like conversion kits and stuff like that too to make things go. But what kind of weapon would you call that?
An assault rifle.
Oh, so that's the thing. They're like, what's an assault rifle? There are no such things as assault rifles.
The way they describe the AR-15 that are used in most shooting, that it's pretty much the equivalent of a pistol.
No, it's not.
That's what they're saying. It's a pistol with a buttstock.
We covered the Dayton shooting that happened on our last episode. You cannot kill and injure 14 people. I'm sorry, 23 people in 30 seconds with a pistol. It can't happen.
You can't do it because of however many.
This Beretta M9 semi-automatic was doing work because he put a lot of shots off and reloaded it very fast.
Because he's trained, he's able to do that. We don't know though how many. Like
I own a gun. I've never shot it.
Right.
I've never shot it.
Yeah.
I'm
okay with people taking guns at gun ranges and stuff.
Yeah.
But assault weapons like that, like an AR, I'm against.
Like it just
handguns, I'm okay with. I'm okay with handguns. I'm okay with shotguns, rifles. If you're going to go hunting, fine. We don't need to be fucking Rambo.
Yeah, my thing is I don't know. It's a weird thing for me, and I don't really have a side, but like I just can't stand when people like the biggest thing on like social media or the media is when there's like they literally diminish the fact that 22 people died in a horrible situation, and they go, 22 people died. Well, that fucking sucks. They're going to try to take my goddamn guns away again.
Yeah.
Like,
not worried about your guns.
Not even remorseful. Like, doesn't it suck at one point in time for you to be like, man, I can't even go to the movie theater. I can't go to the mall. I can't, like, you have to like be careful going in like public. That's scary.
There was
By the way, I did some impromptu research. A Beretta M9, the standard is a 15-round magazine.
Oh.
And they can do 17, 18, 15.
So how many clips can you put in?
20,
you know what I mean?
30.
So this dude could reload, and of course it's going to be fast. It's going to...
All he really has to do is have the clips just stored and just pop them right back in.
When we were at, when I saw you at press last week, the day we went to the Muhammad Ali training camp, we were in there, and there was this like little skinny, nerdy guy standing there, and he had a gun on his hip. And I don't know.
Impressed. I think he was a constable.
I'm pointing at him, and I go, bang, 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 bang. Because it's like, put your fucking gun away. You don't need it. You know, you're not John Wayne.
Yeah, I think he was a constable.
Okay, fine. What's he doing in fucking press? Is he doing constable shit?
He's probably getting lunch.
Then put your gun in the car.
I think by law, by his job, he has to have it on him.
Does he?
I think so.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I think because it's like technically like
by law, his shirt shouldn't be as baggy as it was.
Yeah.
It was a baggy fucking shirt.
It was a baggy shirt. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So, and one last thing that Nathan Gale did was he took a drum technician from Damage Plan, John Cat Brooks. He took him hostage.
By the way, constable should only be a term used if you're in the fucking 1500s,
or if you're Baron Corbin.
Constable Corbin.
I like these wrestling references.
Okay.
So at this point, police did finally arrive on scene. Oh boy, Officer James
African American Meyer.
Thank you.
Wait, what?
It's Nigga Meyer.
Niggemeyer. It's Niggemeyer.
It really is Nigga Meyer.
Officer James Niggemeyer entered through a backstage door without backup and was able to surprise Gale, and he shot him in the head.
That's racist. You made a joke. You said African American Meyer. Yes, I did. It's funny.
He shot him in the head with a police-issued 12-gauge Remington Model 870 shotgun.
Yikes.
According to eyewitnesses, Gale's head was blown completely off.
Yeah, that was a messy one.
Despite the assertions of survivors that his actions saved further lives, and despite getting countless awards and commendations, Niggemeyer suffered from severe anxiety and PTSD and ultimately walked away from the police force after this.
If you blow someone's head completely off and you visibly watch that, you have to be a different type of human to say like that
dude's never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
And this is what he said, actually, because he talked about it later. He said, I found out real quickly that you don't have any control over your brain. It's going to do what it's going to do. Cops are regular human beings. Things affect us the same way they affect everyday citizens. And we relive it and have to deal with the aftermath.
Now, maybe Nathan Gale felt the same fucking thing when he was killing people. You know what I mean? When he was shooting. Maybe he just had no control over his brain. I think sometimes, and this is I'm being dead serious when I say this, I think sometimes your brain kind of drifts into like a fantasy thing, and you lose control over reality. Like where I've done things in the past where I've snapped out of it later and I go, whoa, was that real?
But like while you're doing it, you're thinking, I've already gone this far.
Fucking
I might as well
whatever.
keep going.
Yeah, and maybe if that guy,
everyone's one bad day away from being the Joker.
Dude, right? Where's the Joker? I think I just saw the Joker over here somewhere.
He's right behind your laptop.
Oh, okay.
His bank robbery mask is right behind your laptop.
I think it should be mandatory that people that come out of the military should go to like some kind of therapy, especially like our buddy Nate had PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, you're trained. They rewire your brain.
Yes, absolutely.
My mom
build
worked
you up, break
for,
it down, all that stuff.
My mom worked reception for a VA psych clinic, and yeah, a lot of it was hard for a lot of those people.
I knew a dude. This guy John. He stabbed a fucking kid on our street. They ended up putting our street that we lived on. Ended up having a curfew. What was it, like 8 or 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, I think,
9 o'clock at night. You had to be in. Our street had a curfew. It became that bad. There were stabbings and shit. People were shooting at fucking cops. It was bad. This kid, John, real quick, did we know? Nice fucking dude. Really nice kid. Goes in the military, comes out. He went AWOL. He's got fucking... And I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? He was like, I was in the fucking Marines. And he wasn't even gone long. And this dude was just gone.
Yeah.
His, stabbing people. It was fucking nuts.
It's crazy too, because like, and this is where I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
When it comes to the guns and stuff. James here, who said, you know what, like there's something going on here, and he used the same thing that was being used to harm people. He's also a cop to also save people. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I think that there should be look, I don't fear cops, but I also think that there should be national police reform for one. This is coming from a dude where my grandfather was chief of police, right? That was on my dad's side. My dad's brother was a cop, okay, in Florida. My mom's uncle was a detective on a police force in Philly. We talked about this during the Mumia Abu Jamal thing. Now, they were dirty cops. Most of them were dirty. It's fun because they're all fucking white guys. Yeah. But I think that there should be national police reform. I think that they should all be required, and I think that this should be for gun owners, too. We talked about this yesterday. Gun owners, not only in stores, like you pass mental health checks, but you should be able to do it, like if you're at gun shows. I don't think that there should be gun shows where you're able to buy. Or maybe if you are able to buy, you put it on hold and then go... Whoa, hey.
That was crazy.
Musical interlude.
I'm not going to do it again.
Scared the shit out of me. I thought aliens were coming.
You're all about aliens, Joe Rogan.
I thought they were coming. They're coming for me.
That's Alex Jones.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just believe in national police reform. I think that these cops walking around, I don't think everybody should have cops. I don't think every fucking classroom should have, somebody guarding it. I think it's ridiculous.
What about what they're doing in the nearby school district here, Blue Mountain, where there's a bucket of rocks that they can throw at the shooter as a last resort?
Silly. It's silly. People want to talk about freedom.
Yeah.
But now like everything's guarded, and
I think, all right, so here's what I would say. Yeah. I think if they do put some type of background thing in, and I think if a teacher is capable and they said, I choose to carry a gun, I think they should allow them. But I don't think you should force a teacher to have a gun.
My nightmare scenario, though, is a teacher just unloads on the students, like just snaps one day and unloads.
It's eventually,
but that could happen.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's why I don't want.
That could still happen. Like that
I don't think so.
Right now,
I don't think it's going to. I think it's because I think that 45 has caused so much shit that he's going to get more. Democrats are going to come in full fucking force next election.
Did you see the Tommy?
Well, hold on. Let me. Yeah, Tommy Lahren. That fucking.
No, Tommy Lee.
Oh,
I doubt he wrote it, but he had a great thing about that.
Let me finish what I'm saying. I think 45 is going to cause so many Democrats to just come in full force and like not have a Hillary mess like they fucked over Bernie last election, like the DNC fucked because he wasn't a party guy. I think that somebody like Bernie is going to come in. I think Biden's already fucking up because he made a racist fucking remark.
Who's the dude that I'm not a big politics guy when it comes to but who's the guy that they keep having on TV that like Fox puts on, the real clean cut superhero looking haircut dude, really skinny?
Pete Buttigieg?
I guess so, but he's like
Pete Buttigieg is, and he's the gay dude from like Indiana.
And what's his name is like Trump is pissed every time he's on TV, and like Fox has been putting on a lot, and like the Fox crowd is cheering and applauding what he's saying, and he's completely Democrat.
Trump hates Fox now.
Yeah,
he's like turning on Fox. Yeah.
But yeah, and like what I want to go back real quick too is like even in the most recent shooting when the kid went to go turn the corner to go into the nightclub, and if you watch the video, thousands and like hundreds of people ran into that nightclub.
Yeah,
and that guy turned the corner to be like it would have been open rain for him.
Yeah, and
the cop just waited. And
like the running of the bulls.
Yeah, and the guy just waited the corner, and as soon as he turned, he lit him up.
But what I was saying about Trump is I think that he's pissing off so many Democrats that they're going to come in and they're going to take over, and they're not going to allow schools to have teachers with guns. I think it's a bad idea. I think maybe have cops nearby patrolling school zones, so that way they're if something happens to go down. I just don't trust. I don't think teachers should be there. I
think a cop should patrol. Like, I think there's just certain things in like towns that like I think a cop should be around at most times. Like, I think a cop should be circling.
But where do they patrol, Tony?
Like, just circle the block of a school.
Yeah.
During school hours,
right,
or during school activities.
But the thing is if you watch, I live in Pottsville. Mm-hmm. I watch where the cops go. They only patrol where the money is. Mm-hmm. There's a section down on Mahantongo Street or up on Mahantongo Street by the bigger houses. I see cops patrol that area all the time. Down by where we live, I never see cops patrolling. Mm-hmm. You'd think it would be the other way around. You would think that, there's less crime up there, fuck that. But they're protecting the money.
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't think they give a shit about the school zones. I'm sorry, I just don't. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're the old cops that had integrity that would walk the beat. You don't see that anymore. ever see cops walking the beat?
I've seen a cop walk the beat in Pottsville, actually.
I did see. I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. I saw it on.
Or he drives his bike around.
I saw a cop walking the beat on Halloween. I saw a cop walking the beat. But that's cool. You saw
Was it a cop or was it a guy in a costume?
No, it was a cop.
Oh wow,
legit cop. Unless somebody wanted to dress up like Oh, that was like the thing in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Where the guy scares he scares the kids and he's on a motorcycle and he's like, the kids thought I was a cop. All right. Anyway,
sorry about that.
So and unfortunately, despite attempts by Mindy Reese, a concert attendee and registered nurse who did chest compressions for upwards of 20 minutes, Dimebag Darrell Lance Abbott succumbed to his injuries and died that night at the age of 38. Jeffrey Thompson, who was the security director, Nathan Bray, who was the fan that came up, and Aaron Hawk, who tried to disarm Nathan Gill, were all killed as well. Chris Paluska, the tour manager who was shot in the chest, actually survived, and 6 other people were also injured but not killed. As with many cases where the perpetrator is killed in commission of the crime, why becomes the question. We mentioned that with Adam Lanza on our latest show. We mentioned that with the Vegas shooter at our latest show. Why? And nobody knows, obviously. It died with him. And but the history of mental illness there is clear. And the obsession with Pantera was clear. There were thoughts that...
Couldn't do a brain scan on him.
Yeah. Well, you could. You just have to put it all together like a jigsaw puzzle. But many people thought he had an obsession with Pantera. There's some people that thought that he had blamed Dimebag Darrell for the band breaking up in that very public fight with Phil Anselmo and the Abbott brothers. Yeah. But some people also say that he had these delusions that Pantera was stealing songs, like that Pantera songs were somehow stolen from him, or even that Pantera was trying to steal his identity. And Nathan Gill's mother even said that. She admitted, in this interview, she admitted that she actually bought the Beretta for him because she was proud of him for being in the Marine Corps, so she bought him a gun. But she also said that he was not all there, and he thought that Pantera was trying to take over his life.
I just don't understand homosexuals, man.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand the obsession with a gun. People say, well, it's a tool. Like, fucking all right, man. It's to me, these are made to kill people, They're made to kill. I think that's the main purpose. You could say, it's for shooting, practice. What are you practicing for? To kill somebody. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
In case the zombies come.
Well, I know what Lindsey Graham said at the center is that he owns an AR-15 because if there's ever a massive power outage, they won't come to the house with the AR-15. But all the people that are coming to your house are going to have AR-15s, and they're going to outnumber you and shoot you anyway.
Yeah. Like Bill Burr said it the best. He goes, I need a fucking gun. He's like, I need a gun because when the shit goes crazy, I'm just that asshole who's gathering tools for the toughest guy in the block. I gotta get food and water.
Yeah, I just don't think that those end times are coming.
No,
because it's every decade. Everybody's always talking about we've been. My whole life, I've been always hearing it. 99 going into 2000. All the the power is going to go out. Everybody feared Y2K.
Yeah,
didn't it just go out in New York and everything was kind of cool?
There was a blackout. There's some problems, but by and large, it was okay.
Yeah.
There's always a freak out. The Mayan calendar shit. Yeah. There's always a freak out. So whatever. So do we have any more on Dimebag Darrell? Are we good?
That's pretty much it. I think there's only one thing left.
All right, it's time to pack up and go. I thank you very much for the Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
No. Fuck, Tony, this is your fault.
I love it. Now, when you watch this back on YouTube, you're gonna be like, oh, what's happening? So you definitely have to experience this audio-wise on ProjectHumanite.com or every major podcast platform, so you can hear these cool little sound effects that are put in here. So what's happening right now, Brian?
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Let's sear it. Let's sear it.
Let's sear it.
No. I want to sear it like it's a fucking steak.
Yeah, it is a steak. I love this part.
Let's hear it. That's right. the video listeners are like, yeah, he just sat there for 2 seconds.
They should have like a thing, like how WWE does the CGI things where things are floating.
Yowie wowie.
Yeah, yowie wowie. I love him.
Yeah, that was so good.
God, I wish we could talk wrestling. This is not the show for that.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Actually, this day in recent murders, Bray Wyatt did a neck snap on Finn Balor.
He goes up. Yeah, he killed Finn Balor. That's it. It's the other Finn Balor.
He grabbed him. I was like, Is he gonna Jean-Claude Van Damme him? Or, no, Steven Seagal him? And he,
I thought that they did that in Bloodsport too.
yeah. Could you imagine if that's? His
I remember the
fucking-
Giant did it to Hulk Hogan in WCW.
Could you imagine if that's his new finisher? Just the next snap.
I love that he does the
He should
mandible
just
claw.
kill people. They should just have Bray Wyatt kill people they don't want to use
that's-
anymore.
Yeah, that's how they get the roster down. Like,
Yeah, no, but they all come back as the
They're like zombies or something?
Masked Rider.
yeah.
Or,
Like,
what's his name?
The Midnight Rider?
Midnight Rider. Yeah.
What do we do with Mojo Rawley? Send him out to get his neck snapped.
Mojo Rawley's dead. Didn't you see? Maybe that's all the right off Rusev if Rusev goes to AEW.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I mean, that was a
It's
good.
time to play Who Died the Worst. It's our favorite game where you know what? I'll give you a break. I will give Tony 3 deaths.
Oh, I get to pick.
Why didn't you
and-
have your wife cook us dinner or something?
She did. I just don't know where.
No.
it is.
I said us.
Oh.
She should have had like dinner ready for us. You know,
She
whatever.
normally, like, for Tornado Attack has like food made and stuff.
Oh, like a little buffet.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Now I get
Yeah,
to,
we're here and they're like, we can't feed.
I
those
get to
fat
pick,
fucks.
but I also want to say I want to pick who I think you would have picked because
that's
Brian's
fun. I like it.
terrible at this, and I don't want to brag, but I'm normally right.
Oh,
when
wow.
I listen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so here I'm pumped right now.
So this is a music-themed edition, and if you heard the interviews with Everyday People, you may have a spoiler in one of those. It's a bit of a recycled one. Mm-hmm. So death number 1 is Keith Relf. Keith Relf is best known as the lead singer and harmonica player from the Yardbirds, excuse me.
He's really hungry.
The British rock blues rock band that spawned the careers of Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page.
The Yardbirds were good.
And so Keith Relf was playing guitar in his basement, and there must have been a seepage issue, a water issue.
I thought you were gonna go with Clapton's kid falling out the window.
That's a bad one, too. That's really bad.
That's pretty bad. Gave a great song though.
Yeah, Tears from Heaven, yeah. So he wound up, it was an improperly grounded electric guitar. So he was electrocuted by his own guitar in his basement due to improper wiring.
That has happened to multiple musicians on stage.
That must have been an amazing solo.
Yeah, electrifying.
Imagine if they kept that in.
Actually,
Imagine if I kept that electrifying joke
I
in.
have a really crazy murder possible thing that you can look up to for another possible episode, but it has music related.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever heard the song Roller Coaster? Roller Coaster.
Oh, yeah, Ohio
So
that's not true. I know where you're going.
There's a rumor that there was a woman next door who was being murdered, and you can hear her scream during the instrumental part.
Yeah, you'll hear. There's always
There's definitely a scream in there.
there's always urban. Yeah, right. I know. I have heard that too.
Yeah.
There's always urban myths. There's the one like Wizard of Oz. Like there's somebody. Hanging.
Yeah, Munchkin's committing suicide in the background.
We could bring it up. We could talk about it on a possible like future podcast.
Yeah.
We'll look into it.
Yeah.
We'll do all the dirty like detective digging.
Dirty,
gotta dig
dirty,
around.
Dirty tick. All right, I'm
Which
sorry.
just means going to Snopes, really.
Yeah. So, electrified by your guitar.
Yep, by
What's number
improperly grounded guitar in your basement. Death number 2 is Mike Edwards. I believe we have used this one before. He was a cellist and a founding member of the Electric Light Orchestra, ELO. He died when a large round bale of hay rolled down the hill and collided with the van he was driving.
Okay.
And then death number 3
Okay.
is the legendary Jean-Baptiste Lully,
It's hard to beat this.
the French composer who died of a gangrenous abscess after accidentally piercing his foot with a staff while he was vigorously conducting. It was customary at the time to conduct by banging a staff on the floor. He refused to have his leg amputated so he could still dance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's tough to beat. It's still not. I
So
don't,
you have to. You're picking what you think I would pick.
Well,
so
first
I'm
of all,
still
what would you
picking.
pick?
No. Oh, okay.
all right. So
well,
I
that's a
would,
little unfair then.
All right. So I would pick. Just because I'm.
How about we do this? Hold on. Stop.
Okay.
Stop. How about we do this? How about he picks what he thinks, so that way he can tell us.
Okay, yeah,
afterwards.
what do you think Jackson will pick?
I think you're still going with the staff guy.
I don't. I think because he could have just got his leg amputated.
Yeah.
I think you're going with car guy, ELO.
Okay.
Yeah, I would unless you want to throw a curveball, but I would say I'm torn between the one I would pick and then the staff guy. I would go with the guitar solo. Now, the only reason I would go guitar solo is because I feel like he died possibly from an infection in his house. The guy in the car, unless he had somebody with him, for the most part, never seen that coming. It swiped him away and he was gone. Where if you're all at band rehearsal and your guitarist just gets electrocuted and falls over, and then like no one knows what to do at that point. I think that not so much for the person who died, but for the people that were there that day. Like, I think that would be the worst one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one that I would pick, the same one he would pick.
Really? Okay, the guitar.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I was torn between that. I thought you would have picked one of those two.
No, that's the one I was going to pick because going with the guy, our patron
Our
saint,
patron saint of who died the worst is an idiot who should not have just.
Is an
you don't
idiot.
need to dance.
So if we're looking at what's really
Which makes it
who
great.
really died the worst, we got to get him. That's why he doesn't win anything.
Yeah.
He's just our favorite.
Yeah.
Because it was
It's the
like
best story.
because you're the best. Yeah.
Gotta dance.
He's the best around. Nothing's ever going to keep him
Well,
down.
Gangrene did.
Except for
We
gangrene.
can give you a springy leg. That's not the same. I can't do the two-step.
We got to get that guy like a T-shirt or something. But nobody buys anything from. Nobody subscribes to our Patreon.
What you should do is you should get a custom-made T-shirt of the chalk outline, but just like one swollen leg,
One
and like the staff
Gotta dance.
and the staff.
and the
is
staff.
sitting
He's holding the staff.
No,
yeah.
like the staff is drawn like the chalk line. Too.
Right. But he's
Yeah.
holding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he died and he dropped it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or
Like that.
or I could have it like this, but one leg's just missing.
No, he wouldn't be missing because he didn't cut it off. It would just be like
It's
really
just
small.
bulbous.
That's right. He didn't
Yeah.
cut.
It would
he-
be
Bulbous
really.
and green.
Somebody would not get.
I would.
Oh, if you make it bigger and then make the outline green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
People love it for St. Patty's Day too.
It could
Yeah,
be
we
St.
have.
Patty's Day
We
shirt.
have. I have shirts made up.
Yeah.
Or shirt ideas like that I worked on. For like.
Is the website up yet for the merch?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I think so.
I know last time I checked it wasn't.
Yeah, I think everything's good. I think everything's good to go.
Cool. I gotta get a
Yeah.
shirt.
I would like for somebody to get a shirt like this. The only problem, so when we got this done, I was like, hey, this thing says $13. So Brian went and but then it was like with all these like different
Shipping
charges
and stuff, it
everything
was
was
like
like 20
$21,
something. But what happened was the Murder My Dude part came out really dark. I don't know if he didn't pick the right color or for the color that I put on there, they printed it out like really dark, like it was like a dark maroon.
What website do you use?
I don't know which one it was for
That
that.
was this was what's that one? It's one a lot of people use.
Teespring?
Teespring. Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
Teespring.
Was it Teespring?
Yeah.
I like it, but
I have to figure out what I can do with my logos because I have to get my logos in better resolution so I can put it like on the thing. And then the problem is my logos all have the black background or like the black or the white background. So when I try to upload it to a shirt, it comes with that box. So I don't know enough about graphic design or logos to get rid of the backgrounds.
I'll help you.
And then to make the resolutions better. Like
check out if you go look at twitter.com/standupish STANDUPISH. That's Nate's thing. I did his thing for him.
Yeah.
I did it's like a neon sign with a black brick background
I
with
have
black
the logo.
curtains.
I just need it to a better resolution that I can use it to make my merch. Like I want to make a merch store,
Yeah.
but I just need to get my logo situated.
Dude, I'll help you.
All right, cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you can check out my merch store eventually one day.
And you can check out Murder My Dude.
Hey
at-
man, real quick, I have on here on my laptop. I have a Bangin' Beers
Pope, yeah.
sticker, and I've never listened to an episode of that.
Really?
Really,
They're
I've
good
never.
times. They're good times.
I don't drink beer, so to me, it's like.
It's not really all about the beer though. We have really good conversations.
No, I totally get that, and I would love to be able to come. It's just for me, it's like usually I have my kids when you
Yeah.
guys are doing a restaurant. That's the one I really want to.
Well, yeah, because the beers one, the problem is Tony's drinking. He's not going to be able to drive us home
Yeah.
either.
I actually don't get spoiler. I really don't get drunk during the beer shows.
Okay, well,
I don't.
either that or we'll have. I'll have to figure it out.
And I think at this point, you do those on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
That's when we record Murder My Dude usually.
Yeah.
Although we're changing
Except for we're changing it for
Wednesdays. Yeah.
to Wednesdays.
Yeah, Bangin' Beers might change during football season to Saturday
That's why
nights.
Murder My Dude is changing.
That's why we're
Saturday
changing.
nights, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna.
Because I don't really care about college football.
If we do.
Even though I am going to college football game this year.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Notre
go.
Dame. Yeah.
Notre Dame.
My son just went there.
Yeah, I gotta go so bad.
He met Brian Kelly,
I'm gonna cry like a baby.
like Rudy.
Yeah.
You're gonna
No, like his dad.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna stand outside the arena.
All right, man. Well,
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Hey, thank you for having us in your house.
Yeah.
In your kitchen.
And
where-
I'm
where we
very
didn't have food.
proud that
Except for Cheez-Its.
that if this is the first video version of Murder My Dude.
Yeah, this is strange for us because
This was not easy
Yeah.
to do at first, ladies and gentlemen. I asked this for a while and it took a couple months to work this up.
This has actually been in the works for a while, and I just kind of left it out because I was like, I don't want to overthink things.
Yeah, and by in the works, I came home with that, and you're like, yeah, we're doing interviews every day.
That's all it worked.
I knew Brian was going with the flow. I had to work on you.
I don't think he had to work on me. I think it was just trying to figure out when, and I actually wanted to do it earlier. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do it earlier, but I know you were kind of like inundated with other guests and stuff. Many. You have a lot of shit on the docket, and I was like, because you even said, you're like, hey man, we could get you in earlier.
I would have made a day for you.
And I was like, nah, I'm good. Like, let's just wait. Let's just wait it out.
Like, I'm being honest. Like, I'm not saying this to the people who I have booked, but like, there's people who are like, man, I want to get on, and I'm like, all right, listen, this is nothing personal against you, but I'm not gonna like. I'm booked to, like, realistically, I'm booked to October right now. Yeah. But if there's certain people who are like, hey, I really want to be on the show, and I really like you, and I'm interested in what's going on. Like, if you were like, I want to do another one in next month, I would find a day to get you guys on. Like, I would, because like now,
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, like Tuesdays are my only, like, that's not a woe is me thing, but like SkookStock's taking a lot of time up for me. Yeah. And then I do a show Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they air Thursday, Friday. Like, so Tuesday is like the day, my 1 day of break, but now that Tuesday turns into my editing for the Sunday, Monday show, and then I stay up super late Wednesday, Thursday to get the show ready for Thursday, Friday. Right. Yeah. And then Saturday is when I go out and socialize and meet people, and then talk about, like, kind of plug myself, I guess you would say. Like, it's kind of, I get weird at doing it, but that's like, Saturday's my day to go out and actually like get myself out there, and get people to see my face and go to some shows or go to a location or a wrestling show and try to get I would love to. So my dream, I wanted to talk about this earlier on the regular interview. Mm-hmm. My dream is to build like almost like a podcasting like empire. Yeah. I would love to do that. Kind of what you're doing with your, you have all these different shows. Yep. You have all these different people. I want to do that too. But the thing is we wear so many hats, and we were doing so many shows. I did doing this one. I did Smoke Wagon with Nate. I did 2 Past Midnight with Nate, where we talked horror movies and stuff. We had the Macabre Club. Then we were going to do the Macabre Club as a podcast, which is going to be like a horror, but about a group of people. My wife is a horror junkie.
Really?
Yeah.
And my thing is, I actually want to do things with that, where people would go and like we would interview people, but then we would have like videos where people would like check out locations, even like paranormal stuff that I'm not really. I love it. I love paranormal. He doesn't give a shit about horror movies or paranormal stuff or anything, but stuff like that. We were going to build that up, but I was like, we're doing so many things, and I wanted to focus on one.
So here's my bucket list. Yeah. Because since you asked so kindly, no, I'm joking. I'm a big thing. If I put something into existence, it can happen. Yeah, yeah. So I remember I put out there a while ago, like, I want to do a supernatural episode. I would love to interview a psychic or a psychic medium. Yeah. And I got one.
Really?
Tim's mom. Tim from the coffee shop.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna.
I have another one for you if you want.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would 100% have them on.
I'll talk to you about it when we're off. There's somebody that I talk to that does like card readings and stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
as a matter of fact, this person runs something kind of fairly known and big around this whole area. I'll talk to you.
Cool. And then the other thing I would love to do is I would love to do a podcast in a haunted location. Like, if you say your house is haunted, I'm not gonna go around and fuck with no ghosts, because I don't believe, but I'm like Ozzy Osbourne. I don't want to find out. You know what I mean? Like when Ozzy and Jack were like doing the show, and they were like,
"Love that show. That show's fucking great.
We're gonna stay in the creepiest place in America, Dad." And he's like, "Fuck that, I ain't going." And he's like, "Well, Dad, you don't even believe in that." He goes, "You're right, I don't, but I'm not gonna fucking mess with it and find out."
No, Brian would do.
I would do it. Yeah.
The only thing that would bother him is he would have to go out.
Yeah, that would be the.
He'd be like, "Oh, I'm not in my bedroom right now, playing fucking video games or watching Netflix or something like that."
Like, so if you told me, "Hey, this is." Like, I'm just gonna put one out there, like the Jim Thorpe prison. We would do the research and then talk about the Jim Thorpe prison and the things that happen, and have the podcast set up in the prison. Like, I think that would be a cool.
The thing is with me, I would love to do something like that too. I would love to help out. I love that shit. But I think you kind of have, again, when we're talking about earlier, suspension of disbelief. I think you kind of have to immerse yourself in that and almost pretend like shit's real and go. For Brian, it would be like, nah, it's fucking fake. And anything like, nah, that's explainable. That's explainable. And
I'd
it would
the
be
worst person
boring.
taking a ghost hunt.
It would be so boring
Yeah.
because he would just be like, logic. It's like, fucking stop.
I really want to start stepping outside of my comfort zone with this show. Like I've interviewed a lot of bands. I love people's stories, but I want to start doing some cool stuff like that. Like the hot, like it might not sound like big deal, but that hot sauce episode was a really big step out of my box.
Okay.
Because I don't eat hot things. You know what I mean?
What?
Like I don't like hot sauce.
Why are we here?
I don't know.
Why are we here?
Yeah, I have actually hot sauce to send home with you guys in.
How do you not like hot sauce?
I'm becoming a fan now, but like if it's extremely hot, I can't do it.
Extremely hot, I won't do because there's no sense.
Yeah. So like I want to start doing that. I want to start going a little out of my box. And like I said, if you have some listeners in the area that want to be a part of interviews with everyday people, reach out to us on Facebook and Facebook. You know, you can hear us on every major podcast platform, YouTube, the whole nine. So I like I said, I'm a big fan of this show.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
And I hope I get some cross people from my show to come over to yours and vice versa. And like I said, anytime you guys want to do this, let me know.
I'm all about supporting other podcasts.
100%. Yeah.
All about it. I put a hashtag earlier for when I promoted it, like that we were going to be on here on my Instagram. I put like hashtag support local podcasts as a joke because
Is there any other local podcasts that you know about in the area?
Not that I know.
no,
of.
not really.
So I know of Coal Region Campfire Stories. It's a guy. He kind of does. I think he started off doing like stories. I guess like ghosts or supernatural stories.
Yeah.
And now he kind of more or less does like food reviews in the area, and he interviews people in the area. That started kind of recently, I think. I think he's been winning the award for like best local podcast like every year.
Okay. We're gonna have to get involved.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a three-way run,
The
race.
thing is, what I have
That's
to
when I get up, I fold up this chair and I just hit Tony with it.
what I have to do is I have to just kind of stop getting off track so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm long-winded and I'll just go.
Me too.
And I'll just go. But I like talking, and
So do I.
I think the people, if they enjoy.
I like when you go on your tangents because I learn more about you as a person. So here's the thing that like I hope that I resonate with my show. It's just I go on tangents and I talk about things, and I may talk about things more than once. Yeah. But like I'm invested in Murder My Dude, not just for your guys' research and you like doing the stories and you tell good stories and it makes me more interested to do more research and learn more about the topic.
Right.
But during the show as well, I learn about you two as people, and I become a fan of not just the show and the content, but I become fans of the host. And I think that's very important to do as a podcast.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I think if you keep it straight, like when you guys, like when you were like getting in your own head for a little bit there, and you're like, we're changing the whole structure of the show. And I heard it, I immediately messaged him like, please don't do that. Because I like the fact that you guys go on those tangents and go a little crazy and expose yourself as people.
That was my thing.
I know you overthink everything.
I do overthink. But what happened was I was like, all right, people are going to get tired of this logo. We need something else, because I felt that it was too bland. It was too boring. It was just sitting there. And I'm like, we need something else. And then I worked on this logo where it's like, it looked like it was like kind of pressed in the wood, like burnt into the wood. And that was my thing. And I was like, let's do this murder cabin gimmick where the first season opens up with the music we have is this noir, like film noir, because that was so
true crime.
Murder My Dude the title came from, there was an old movie called Murder My Sweet. Mm-hmm. My dude, everybody's, that's like the common thing today with kids. You're like, oh, what's up, my dude? Like whatever. So I took Murder My Sweet, the my dude phrase, put it together, Murder My Dude. The original logo I did, it was like this black and white film noir thing. And that's why we have the film noir, like that theme is that, but it has like a hip hop beat to it too.
Yeah.
So I was like, for the second season, let's do something different. Let's go. Now we're at the murder cabin, and that's why I changed the theme.
Yeah.
And I did like it's the same logo, but it's now in like the wood and everything. I don't think people really responded to it as well as I wanted them to.
Yeah. Well, once again, you criticize him for his book and not getting traction right away. Maybe he had a little stew a little bit.
Yeah.
See, I did the only big drastic thing I did with my show is the things that weren't cool in high school.
Yeah,
I was like every time I kept like saying it and talking about it, I would always be like, oh, the show not cool in high school, and I was chopping it up myself as someone who created it, right. And I was like, we're changing the name, and they're like, why? We like it. I'm like, every time, me personally, I'm editing it myself, and I just think when you say things that weren't cool in high school, it makes it more the show about just like what you're talking about. Where if you say not cool in high school, it makes us as a group like.
So why don't you just call it things not cool in high school, but then just refer to it as not cool in high school?
It's already done. The logo's created. It's changed.
Oh, you can't possibly go back.
No, I can't.
Like I did. I brought back I was like, oh, we're escaping the fucking. I told them one day, I was like, we're escaping the murder cabin.
Yeah.
You're free.
Yeah.
So I brought back the old logo. The old logo is just the black, red, white logo. Because I'm like, what I said to him was, I want people to recognize it. Mm-hmm. I want people to recognize the dude. You're not going to recognize it unless you're looking at that wood logo.
Yeah.
You know,
the wood logo might be hard to put on a shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Unless you just put it, whatever.
Well, that's why a lot of people say to me, like, why do all your logos look the same? Because I want people to know that
it's recognizable.
All of my shows it's a very simple but the colorful logo. So like, I'll get a little more behind the scenes here. Where's all the coasters at? So I have one here.
Yeah, we were using the coasters here.
So like Bangin' Beers. So Bangin' Beers color, it doesn't really can't say on there, but the Bangin' Beers color is an amber beer and a like a lager type beer.
Okay.
But it does look like Washington Redskins logos, and it's a plus. Tornado Tag. So what we were doing is we would go online and I found a picture of the beer color charts, and we literally took an eyedropper, took the color beers I like, and then just dropped them onto the logo, and that's where we got it from. Tornado Tag's colors come from my favorite toy of all time growing up was the old school bright baby blue ring.
Oh, okay.
With the red ropes.
Yeah.
And it had the little belt stand at the table outside. That's where I got the colors for Tornado Tag. Not Cool in High School is a mix between Joker, Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I see the Joker in it, definitely.
Yeah. Doctor Doom had a little bit of green and purple. And then interviews, I just wanted a very bright blue and kind of put it out there. But
I wanted to go with different colors for our shows. When we had the cheap shot, we would mess around with blue or orange.
Yeah. And the microphone was supposed to be the Blue Yeti because that's what I was supposed to use on the podcast. And then I was like, that doesn't work.
That's what we originally. That's what I would podcast when I did Smoke Wagon. I used the Yeti, but then it broke. So all right. Well, man, thank you so much for having us and doing this.
I'll save your butthole and get out of here.
It was a lot of fun.
Got to get my kid from Ashland. So. So thank you again, man. And I would love to sit down and do something again and eventually start maybe work on another project. Maybe a joint thing between Project Humanoid and the IwEP family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe get a show on Project Humanoid.
Maybe we'll watch
I'm trying to build an empire, baby.
Maybe I'll make something fancy for I'll make a quick couple like a solo show where I talk about something. We'll just upload it on Project Humanoid.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That'd be cool.
All right.
Well, we'll see you next week with more murder.
My dude.
Damn.
I stole it.